Hello. It's good to be back again, and always a pleasure to hang out with you on TALKSHOP, where we tell the truth and that the chips fall where they may. And as we say all the time, truth crashed to earth shall rise again. And finally, the great question: what time is it? And your great answer: Nation Time. It is Nation Time. It's very good to be back with you again on Nation Time. Let's start right away, man. I've been promising you that I wanted to do a session on Traore. You have been reminding me. So today, let's talk about Traore, but in a big picture. Okay? What do I mean by the big picture? Folks, let's understand something. Then this is going to all of Africans. Or let me say all Pan-Africans, all people of African descent. Listen to this, folks. There's a dilemma that we have as a continent. Munchio, as a continent of Africa, we are grappling with a dilemma. And here's the dilemma. The dilemma is, what path will our leaders choose? Listen to this. We are almost on the collision course with the so-called developed countries. Worse than Easting, it's like Africa is on a collision course. Why am I saying this? Is that whatever is of interest to us as Africa works in the opposite way for the interests of those in Europe and all those developed economies. What is good for us is not necessarily good for them. Let me explain this. You know, we have all the minerals, and we have left it for the exploitation of them. They are the ones that exploit our minerals. So this is the dilemma I'm talking about too. When you have a leader who is saying, Charlie, I want to focus on developing the minerals ourselves. I want my nation to be in charge of the minerals. Once you start talking like that, then it's starting to affect the developed countries negatively, because they are the ones that want to exploit our minerals. They want to develop it, quote unquote, but they're exploiting it and then give us some local fuel when they exploit it. And that's the problem we're facing in Africa. You know, some time ago, if you read history, they'll tell you that long ago, I think it was 1884 through 1886, there's what they call the scramble for Africa. That was the time that is known in history as the scramble for Africa, which basically means that all of the colonial powers, I'm talking about Britain, Germany, Italy, they're all scrambling for Africa, because they realize that Africa has so many resources. So if they can colonize us, they will be the ones exploiting our resources. So the scramble for Africa was all about who will colonize who. And check this out, man. There was such a scramble, say, Charlie, we are scrambling too much. Let's all sit down. Let's have a meeting and decide amicably among ourselves who will have what. They were scrambling for Africa. Everybody wanted to part a part of Africa, and all of Europe was scrambling for Africa, most of Europe. So they said, Charlie, slow down. Let us sit down and let us calculate, and let us do it amicably among ourselves. Who will take what? So they decided, okay, so we'll give this to the Portuguese, Mudieni. We'll give this to the English, British, Mudieni. We'll give this to the Italians, Mudieni. We'll give this to the French, Mudieni. Can you imagine? Africa sitting out somewhere. Now, and say, Charlie, let's stop fighting. Let's sit down amicably as noble people, and then let us split this continent up between ourselves. And that is the beginning of how they came to colonize Africa. And the beginning of colonization was the beginning of how we were having all these border disputes. If you trace all the border disputes, most of them will go back to colonization. During the scramble for Africa, when they took colonies left, right, and center, they would divide this country into half, and then half will go into French, half will go into London. All that mess in Africa was because they were scrambling for Africa. They needed Africa. The resources were in Africa, and they needed it. Listen to what I'm saying. Oh. So there was a struggle. But you know the point I want to make today? One very good point. This, in history, is called the struggle for Africa. And they say it happened in 1884, 85 side, where they met in Berlin, the Berlin Conference, to decide who will take what. And so Africans, because we have been colonized, and because our minds are all made of colonial mentality, we also refer to the scramble for Africa as something that happened in history. 1884, that's when it happened. But now we have moved on. We have got independence. Oh my goodness! I want to tell you all today, and I'm sure, not that I'm sure, I know many people know this, that the scramble for Africa in 2025 is even more severe than 1884. So if you allow colonial education to get you thinking that scramble for Africa is something in the past, you're a joker. Or you have missed the boat. Let me repeat this so important. If any African thinks that the scramble for Africa happened in 1884, but now we are independent, now we are okay, please, it's a lie. I'm telling you today, and you can go and do all your research and you come back and tell me, oh, KSM, you were right. I've never thought about it that way. Many of you have, but some of you haven't. But I'm telling you, the scramble for Africa 2025 is even more fierce than 1884. I'm telling you. But these days, they do it nicely, so you know they are scrambling for Africa, you know. Oh, they have USA, they'll just give aid to Africa. They have this peace mission. They have this missionaries. They have this. So we welcome them. Sometimes we do drumming and dancing ceremony to welcome this nice peace core council, whatever is coming. But don't forget, folks, it is still scrambling for Africa. But they have stopped when they used to come with guns and the slave ship. No. They're doing it now digitally. But the scramble for Africa is on today. Let me tell you a funny thing. A long time ago, when they were building the Jubilee House, around that time, the French embassy was right next door to the Jubilee House, Wakanda. So when they were building the Jubilee House, many prominent people were saying, no. We have to relocate the French embassy. It is too close to the Jubilee House. And that's a security risk. Because the French embassy cannot be next door to the seat of government. A security risk is too close. So let's move the French embassy. I think the French embassy is now not located next door to the Jubilee House. But let me tell you why I found that was so funny. You know what is funny? If the French or the Americans or the British, if any of them want to spy on us, they don't have to move close to the Jubilee House. They'll do it from their country. More zero. If the US wants to spy on Ghana, they will have a place in Pentagon. Your friends had the Pentagon, a special room. They'll have a Ghana room. And there in Pentagon in DC, they can be monitoring everything that they want in the Jubilee House. Maybe you don't know. The French. So you have moved the French away from Jubilee House, so you are not safe. I'm sure the French are saying, oh, it's très bien funny, which means it's very funny. Me come here, me French, you. It's très bien funny. So we have moved them. They are no longer close to Jubilee House, so they are safe. You are lying. Pacho, just if you think about this whole Google technology with GPS. I can sit in my car in Accra today. I'm going to work. I'm driving you. I'm supposed to give a talk at Wa Presby. Then I'm my location be. I can put it in my Google map in Accra here to take me there. It will direct me. And if people can develop this technology, you think if you move your embassy away from them, you are free? No, I'm saying all these things to let you understand that the scramble for Africa now is digital. They know what they want, they know what they are looking for, they know how to find it. So I'm just saying, don't take the scramble for say something that happened in the past though. Right now. And do you know what they're doing now? Or what they have been doing? Is that they monitor every president of Africa. They monitor you and they monitor the resources, the mineral resources you have in your country. And if you have so much resources that they depend on, then it is very, very important for them to decide who they want to rule you. You get the logic? Because based on who they want to rule you, they can say that, oh, this man there, when he rules, nothing, no problem. We can go and get the minerals as much as you want. This man there, when it comes to be radical. This one there, when it comes this. So they are so abreast. The scrambling, as I talk now, is so up to date. They know everything. They have a profile of all our leaders before. Even while they are campaigning to be presidents, they have the profile. This man, when he wins, this is what will happen, this is what will happen. And if somebody is like really radical and they can't really tell their mind, they start targeting them even from the time they are entering. And when you elect people and they are seemingly intelligent, then what? They have a way to enter your country and they have a way to compromise your army. So even if it goes through the normal democratic channel, you have elected your own president, and if the president is thinking right, and they are in Paris, they are in London, they are in the US, they are says, Charlie, this guy is thinking right, man. He's going to give us a hard time to his minerals. The scramble is still on. What do we do with this guy? Today, as I talk, that is the thinking. That is the targeting. Folks, so I'm saying all of this because, I promised you I want to talk about Ibrahim Traore. And all of a sudden, he's shaking the world. Why? Because he's one of those African leaders they don't want. They want a puppet African leader that they can control and they can puppet. Control like a puppet. That is what they want. They'll be your friend. They'll love you. And there are so many African leaders right now, both civilians who we all elected democratically and soldiers who took over in coups who are all puppets. And they are using them nicely. Folks, and this is the sad thing, if they want to take over anybody in Africa or they want to scramble for any country in Africa, they don't have to go far. They look within the country. They look at the leader. They look at who's close to the leader. They look at who's the bodyguard. They look at this, that, and they have a way to maneuver to get to the closest person that the leader will never suspect that this guy can do me in. And that's what they will use to do you in. We talk about Kwame Nkrumah, that he was overthrown by the CIA. It is not a secret anymore. They have now published formation data that suggests that the CIA was behind the overthrow of Kwame Nkrumah. Even small boys who were born to describe, they know, the CIA overthrew Kwame Nkrumah. If you don't know that, then what about them? It's a known secret. But who did they use? Did you see American troops flying helicopters to come to Ghana to come and overthrow Kwame Nkrumah? No, they used people from the Ghana army. And because we are so dependent on them, they know how to mess up our economy. With Nkrumah, they started messing up with the ages, the supply of what we call those things that we call essential commodity. You see, we can't get milk, we can't get rice. They know how to just create some turmoil in the country. And they know that with Africans, if you don't get their milk, you can make a coup in Ghana. And there'll be so much supporting there. Anyway, let's move on. So the scramble is still on. And they look at the leader and decide this leader, no, this leader is too good. And when they say it's too good, it means one thing. They want to protect the minerals of the country. That's what makes them too good. And when they determine that you are too good, they say, no, this man must go. That's why Kwame Nkrumah went. That's why Thomas Sankara went. Thomas Sankara was killed by, I think it's Blaise Compaoré or something like that. They were friends. They were friends. They killed and they took away Patrice Lumumba way back. Patrice Lumumba, because Patrice Lumumba was interested in taking over their own resources in the Congo, and Belgium says over our dead body. They killed Patrice Lumumba. They actually put his body in acid to dissolve him in acid. Well, we know here when they overthrew Muammar Gaddafi, they overthrew, no, folks, all I'm saying is this. If you're doing well for your country, they can have this man is against human rights. He's going through human rights abuse. Let's overthrow him. And that is what they have started with Traore. He's not allowing the independent press. He's clamping down on the press. There's no freedom of DN. So they are just setting the pace to overthrow him. What was that black general in the US? Is it called Langley or something? Who fired the first shot? That Traore is a corrupt person and he's stealing money, blah, blah.
You know, I see this, and I don't mind calling them out, but Capt.Traore and Burkina Faso, as they know that both, whether it's their gold reserves, that is all those proceeds are just in exchange to protect the junta regime. When you get down to it, it's all about the revenue that can be drawn out of that, and there are nefarious actors.
Shots fired. Well, fire first shot, no. And that is the intention. Then they want him out of office. You know what's funny in America when they jail you in America and they sentence you to death? You know what they call you? Dead man walking. Sometimes you go to jail, can be on death row for about 5 years. You think that, it's true, they won't care. You can be on death row for 5 years, 10 years, whatever, but the time will come, they'll pick you and kill you. So until you are killed, once you have been sentenced to death in the US, they call you a dead man walking. I'm saying that because I've heard in certain quarters and certain belief, that's what they want to call Ibrahim Traore. He's a dead man walking. Why? Because he's blocking the major powers from taking his mineral resources, taking his uranium. He has blocked France, he's blocked the US, so they say he's a dead man walking. Folks, now, when the minute they label you as a dead man walking, it means the machination has began. So for all progressive African leaders, you have two options though. You are either a dead man walking, or you are the last man standing. A dead man walking, it means that they have started, that is what they elevate the gendarme to the international level. This man is a human rights abuser, where you say they badmouth you and let you look like a monster internationally, paint you and destroy your image internationally. The gendarme, those who are doing in Ghana, sometimes I call them O-level free SHS gendarme. That gendarme is on that international scale, and they have put Traore on that scale. The badmouthing has started, and as I said, if you're a progressive African leader and they start badmouthing you, then it means you are a dead man walking. But let me give an example. I said either you're a dead man walking or the last man standing. Let me tell you why I talked about the last man standing. Do you know Fidel Castro of Cuba? That man confused the US people so much, it's not even funny. Fidel Castro is the president of Cuba. I think Cuba is maybe just 90 miles from Florida. He's so close to the US. Everything in the book to assassinate Fidel Castro was tried. Poison, assassination attempts, this, that, this. They did everything they knew possible. Economic sanctions, everything to get to Fidel Castro to bring him down. But guess what? He was the last man standing. He ruled as president of Cuba until his death. Now that it's gone, I don't know whether the aggression has stopped. But that's what I'm talking about. So for all Africans, for all Pan-Africans who have seen the emergence of Ibrahim Traore, who, whether you like it or not, no matter how much you disagree with him or don't like him, he has emerged right now as a symbol of African defiance. He has emerged that currently he is the one that is strictly an impediment to the contemporary scramble for Africa. Let me make my own word. I'll call it New Scramble for Africa. So the Scramble for Africa we read in about the Berlin Conference in 1844, that was a long time ago. But today we have a new struggle for Africa. And the resistance at the forefront today is Ibrahim Traore. Yes, he was a military man, came through a coup d'etat and but he seems to have his country at heart. And so far, he is determined to chart a course for his country that I want my independence. I want my sovereignty for Burkina Faso. We should be at the commanding heights of our own country. That is his crime, folks. That is his crime. And that is why he has been targeted as a dead man walking. It is up to us in Africa to decide, are we going to allow another one? What was his name? Bob Marley. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it, many words no. But Bob Marley, Charlie, I salute you. So prophetic, so philosophical. And when he said prophets, how long shall they kill our prophets? He was not talking about Prophet Joel and biblical prophets. No. He was talking about people who had a vision for black people. They had a vision for Africa and Pan-Africa. They had the Marcus Garvey-ish vision for the black people. That is what Bob Marley called prophets. When you have the Marcus Garvey-ish kind of vision for Africa. Malcolm X believed in Africa. And that's the vision he had. And so when Bob Marley talks about how long shall they kill our prophets, he's talking about how long are they going to kill our leaders who have a vision for Africa. While we stand aside and look. We don't even stand aside and look. We are the ones they use to kill our prophets. That's why you know me for a long time. When I hear Kotoka International Airport, he's the one they used to kill Kwame Nkrumah or take away Kwame Nkrumah. Who had that kind of vision for Africa? How long shall they kill our prophets? Lumumba Oko, Sankara Oko. Name them. Once they are progressive, they come and they go. They like the Uncle Toms. That's the very interesting development between Africans in Africa and the African Americans in America. You know, in African Americans, because of their struggle for slavery, we went through our struggle for colonialism. But it's not very different from the struggle Well, it's quite different, but the mentality is not very different because in the US, the blacks, there were two. Malcolm X defined it. So we have the house Negro and we have the field Negro. The house Negro was the one who loved the master more than himself. I'm not saying, yeah, some we like the white folks. That was the house Negro. They'll do anything for the white people. Malcolm X put it very funny in one of the statements. He says, even when their master who is mistreating them, the white man is sick, they go to the man and say, oh, boss, is we sick? The slave owner who is maltreating the slave, when he is sick, the slave goes to him and says, oh, master, is we sick? That is the mentality. And Malcolm X called it the house Negro. They are happy with what they are because the white man gives them crumbs. The same thing in Africa. We have the revolutionary leaders who are bent on a vision for Africa, and then we have the Uncle Toms. And just like in the US where they had the field Negroes, they were the radicals. And the Uncle Toms were the house Negroes. Is we sick? That's an Uncle Tom. In Africa, we have the same thing. We have the revolutionary leaders, and then we have the Uncle Tom leaders. Yes, in Africa. And the Uncle Tom leaders, they are bent on impressing the colonialists. Oh, we are still good boys. Oh, as they say in Ghana, I only boss you know, but you boss way, which means you are the boss. And when they see you, they have to show you respect. Hey, boss. That's how African leaders who are not conscious behave when they see the white man. Oh, boss, boss. You know. So that's exactly, as I talk now, folks, the people who are bent on taking out Ibrahim Traore, some of them are Africans. There are some evil machinations that have come from places like Ivory Coast, even from Kenya is a suspect, you know, and these are all Africans. And trust me, I am hoping that Traore will be a last man standing. But for crying out loud, if it's a dead man walking, trust me, those who are going to be there to make sure it's a dead man, they are from Africa. Of course, they are working cahoots with the white man. Yes, our boss. This Langley guy who fired the first shot about how unconstitutional Traore's and everything, what was the first country he visited? Ivory Coast. Isn't that an African country? And even isn't that Langley guy an African descendant? Only black. That's what excuse me to say, that's what I enjoy about white people, man. If they want to do the dirty work in Africa, if they want to do the number on Africans, they are not going to come there as white people and do it. No, they'll send you somebody that looks like you, that sounds like you, that you are probably fighting for, say, we are all Pan-Africans or whatever. They will do you in. But I'm glad that the African Americans say something. We are now woke. So Africans are now woke. Because, you know, how long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? These days, it seems like we don't want to stand aside and look. We want to protest. Just take a short minute to look at the Pan-Africans or black people who are protesting in Paris in support of Traore. Just take a quick look at this protest. We'll be back. Take a look at this.
We must unite now. We must have one army. We must have one currency. We must have one foreign policy. We must be united.
So, folks, this is an answer to Bob Marley. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? You saw the protest. They are not standing aside and looking. They are saying, no, this nonsense must stop. You can't continue killing our prophets. Traore, what is his crime? He's building factories in Burkina Faso. He has started a tomato factory. He has started a housing project. People like him. He's from what we hear, he's developing the roads. He's working for Burkina Faso. Ask him, why is this a problem for anybody else? I'll tell you what the problem is. He's blocking the scramble. He is blocking the strangle. He's saying enough is enough. This is my territory. Let's protect it. Imagine every African leader protecting their turf like that. What will happen in this world? We will turn the world upside down. So there are those who are interested in making sure that that doesn't happen. But Africa is woke, man. Africa is woke, and I'm saying I hope Traore will be the last man standing and not a dead man walking. I want to assure Bob Marley that we won't continue standing down while we watch them kill our prophets. Look at Malema, freedom fighter, all the way from South Africa, standing up, say, I stand with Traore. Listen to him for a bit here.
America must never tell us what to do. The same United States, which is furious at being cut off from the riches of Burkina Faso, cannot tell us what to do. We stand with Capt.Traore. We stand with Traore because we know that Traore stands for the unity of Africa. We are Traore, and Traore is all of us. If they kill Traore, you must know they would have created another wound in the continent of Africa. We must defend him the same way we defend the unity of Africa.
This is what we're talking about. Africans are now woke. But just like the African Americans who dealt with house Negroes and field Negroes, we in Africa too, we were dealing with our Uncle Toms, some of whom are presidents. And they are working in cahoots with the slave master to make sure that nothing ends up well for us. So, people like me, and I'm sure many people that are watching this program, we stand with Traore. Shall it is time for Africa to stand up. Well, they were killing our prophets and we didn't know. We watched them take out Kwame Nkrumah. We watched them take out Lumumba. We have watched them take out Sankara. We have watched them take out Gaddafi, who was killed like a dog. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and watch? But I'm happy today. It's a feeling that I'm getting that we are now woke. And the woking is very gradual. It won't be like all of a sudden all of Africa is awake. No. It takes the emergence of, today Traore has emerged here. Who knows who will emerge where tomorrow? Whether it's by soldiers or by, who knows who emerge? And all this international gendarme about his human rights abuse and how the whole world, with all respects, one of the countries that abuse journalists and human rights is Israel. That is not anything new. Israel abused human rights, they abused, but is he not one of the countries that are protected most by the people who are fighting against Ibrahim Traore? Am I kidding? Look, there's no all these people who are standing there, here, there, talk about human rights in Africa. Go into their countries and sit down and really talk about human rights. When we get deep into analyzing human rights, every country has fallen short. But they use these things. And Nkrumah wanted a one-party state. And the sad thing is this: the Africans who the leaders are fighting for, the Africans who the prophetic leaders have a vision for, the Africans whose welfare is what these leaders are thinking about, these are the very same Africans that will rejoice that they have taken out that leader. And that is the strength of the white folks, man. That is the strength of the imperialist. They don't have to worry. They don't have to come here and do anything. I am told in Nkrumah's time, he said, Charlie, Ghana is a Pan-African country, blah, 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 blah. So the US, if you're going to send an ambassador, I want a black person. This is at the center is Franklin Williams, who I hear is part of the whole CIA thing. So I'm saying that if they want us, they use us. But I'm happy to say it seems that we are getting woke. This is a deep message I'm giving you today, man. Africa, Pan-Africa, if we don't get woke, as African Americans put it, and open one eyes, if we don't make one eyes tear and understand that we are on the collision course. And the dilemma of an African leader is this: do I stand with my people? Do I build for my people? Do I make sure that the resources available to us are for my people? Or do I sit down quietly and watch it being taken away by foreign nationals? And trust me, if you're an Uncle Tom leader, you let them take it away. They'll protect you. They will sing your praises. You can kill 10 people a day. They will still say you are the most democratic person they have seen in their lives. So today, folks, I'm glad that I've done my bit on Traore, but I wanted to do it on a broader perspective of not just Traore and Burkina Faso, but in the context of the African struggle and what we're up against when we talk about the new scramble for Africa. So what I can say is this: my fellow Africans, Pan-Africans, Mulema, big ups to you, but let me say to all of Africa, let us not sit down and watch them take away Traore. Let us make sure that he's not a dead man walking. Let us make sure that he's the last man standing. And that is what we in Africa are looking for. Not just Africa, all of Pan-Africa. We should make sure that he's the last man standing. Folks, this has been TALKSHOP. Today, we digressed and went on a larger Pan-African scale, but anytime we need to do that, we will. Because as Kwame Nkrumah said, the independence of Ghana is meaningless until it is linked up with the total liberation of the whole continent.
Our independence is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of the African continent.
So those that say, oh, do we free, but they are targeting Traore, but it's okay, we do free, we get free. Until all of us are free, none of us is free. So folks, we can come back, we'll get back to you very soon with another version of TALKSHOP. On our next episode, I want to look at this Muhammad's 120-day accomplishments, what he has been able to do, what he has not been able to do, and look at everything and what is the way forward. But until then, I know you, we all stand with Traore. Ghana, as I always say, shall rise again.